Do you want to invest in real estate, and are you looking for an example of how to do it yourself?
You know what? Let's talk about that.
We'll do it.
Yeah, let's go. I'm Milton Ali.
And I'm Hampton Skurlock.
And we want to welcome you to the Investor Tribe podcast.
Late night grind, got the cash in the flow. Flipping these dreams, what's the portfolio grow? Brick by brick, stacking wealth in the zone. Investor Tribe, that's where the hustle is home.
Today's episode is sponsored by us. And we didn't mean to say that at the same time, but it is sponsored by us, the Investor Tribe podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Go to wherever you find podcasts, and we're starting on Spotify, and which is super cool. Find us on INV Tribe on everything. That's at INV Tribe across all the social medias. Let's go.
All right, let's welcome Jessica Yu to the Investor Tribe podcast.
Hello.
Yes, we know that you are absolute amazingness, and we wanted to find someone who is absolutely amazing to talk to about real estate investing and being you are a great realtor. You have helped me over the years in my journey as a real estate agent, and you've done some really cool investing. You've done it all. You have a tremendous resume, and you've been in the game for a while, and selling over $78 million in real estate over your time as an agent is not bad.
Oh my gosh, I did not know half that stuff about myself. Thank you, Milton.
Yes, which puts you in the top 3% of all agents here in Louisville.
Shut the front door.
Yes.
It's
just absolutely amazing. Known for putting people before property. And you are a realtor, an investor, a deal maker, and a deal architect.
Oh, I like that.
Again, we welcome you to the Investor Tribe podcast.
Thank you for those kind words. He pulled it off very well. Every word I told him.
He did. And I think our producer thought you were going to be much older when he saw your production there. So you've done a lot of it at a young age. So
Asian don't raise them.
Right. So let's go back to 2012.
Okay.
Where were you in 2012?
Well, in 2012, I remember it being kind of like the recession recovery, right?
Right.
From the 2008. I had just graduated from college. So I went to U of L here. Go Cards.
That's right. Go Cards.
And I had a marketing degree. And at the time, I just thought, I knew I wanted to do real estate. I just wasn't really sure in what capacity. And so I went to this great networking group called CREA. And I talked to a lot of people there and just kind of asked their opinion. Hey, do you think I should get my license, or do you think I should just go out there and buy houses with no money? And a really, really wise guy named Rue McFarland told me, it might help you get a loan if you had a job. I was like, oh, that's some sound wisdom right there. I talked to a couple other people, and I heard some that were like, no, just work with an agent. I heard some that said, well, it helps if you get your license too. You can learn the ins and outs, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, I was waiting tables, and I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. So maybe I should just go get my real estate license. How hard can it be, right? So that was kind of what was happening in 2012. And then my dad encouraged me. I remember he said, when I'm quoting people, this is how I remember it going down the conversation. And I was starting to make some good money at the time. If I made over $100 a day waiting tables, I'm like, that was a good day. I was very happy. And my dad said, you know what? I would encourage you to burn your bridges, and you should totally get your real estate license and just jump headfirst into it and just quit serving. I was like, but what about the money? And he's like, I don't want you to lose a $10,000 commission over a $10 tip. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
So of course that's
a bar. Right
yeah,
there.
I know. You can't. My dad has these one-liners that just like hits you, and you're like, what just happened? And it just sticks with you.
Man, that's super cool. And so what went right or wrong with your first investment?
Ooh, okay. So I think Okay, so before I got licensed, actually, so I'm going backwards a little bit. My brother, my dad, and I actually did a flip. I almost forgot about this because it was so long ago.
See, we're back in 2012.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why
sorry,
I went back in
got you.
2012, right?
Oh,
so was
okay.
this back in 2013-ish?
I think it was
even
before.
Earlier?
It was
oh,
before
wow,
then.
earlier. Gotcha.
Early, because my dad was always trying to like teach us, right? And he would take us to his property sometimes. And I think he wanted us to, you know, kind of sometimes in Asian culture, like the family business is your business, right? So when they had the restaurant, okay, so I don't want to like too much backstory, but basically, too long didn't read. My parents had a fast food Chinese restaurant. And then my brother and I grew up in that restaurant helping out. And then they transitioned to real estate. And my dad's goal was to replace his restaurant income with rental income. At the time, he didn't really know what he was doing. And so he just bought what he could afford and what he knew, which was like Tailor Boulevard, you know, 7th Street, like kind of just picked up one for $1, picked up one for $10,000, stuff like that. And then I heard, and he would just figure it out, right? So he would take me and my brother. So we went from like chopping broccoli and rolling egg rolls and crab rangoons and taking orders, wiping tables. And every now and then he'd take us out to like cut grass, hold that drywall, you know, pretend you're an adult so we can set out this tenant who didn't pay rent. And so we just kind of like, that was our immersion and like getting into it. And I think my dad thought it would be fun for us to flip a house together, even though none of us knew what we were doing. We had no design, like didn't know anything about pricing for, you know, anything. And so my dad actually had his license, but he didn't actually help clients. He just used it to get into houses and like, so he didn't have to wait for anyone. And he would have me run the comps. And he's like, what do you think this house would be worth after we fixed it up? And so anyway, we actually had an agent who listed it for us. But my brother and I, we like went, you know, we helped. Air quotes there, for those who can't see. We helped out. And he split the money with us. And it was like our first deal together. I would say that's kind of, yeah.
Did you say, what all did you learn that deal, or how did it shift your approach to real estate investing?
Honestly, I felt like my dad let me get away with a lot, and he still gave me credit because I was like, man, it's too hot. I'm just going to sit over there. But I think what I learned, you know, mostly he kind of like, he worked with it, you know, because he said, okay, she's not really into getting sweaty and like, you know, doing the brawn work. I'll just let her like run the comps and do like the computer work. This kind of leads up to where I am coming now. But my brother, I think he actually learned quite a bit because he was more like willing to help out. So now he like knows how to do electric, and yeah, he's quite handy, right? But I just learned that, I mean, at the time I was too young, but it was just like a step of confidence, I think. And also just like knowing that, like learning a little bit about the family business, air quotes, right? And oh, you could buy something for this price, put this much money into it, and then sell it and make some money. It wasn't my money, but, you know, my dad bought that.
But you got to split it. So,
yeah, and then we did lots on that, too. And I remember there was, like, no working toilet, and it was such a hot mess.
So you're the reason we now have the working toilet rule.
Probably.
And the working air conditioning rule during the summer to make sure that we go to these houses that all that
Definitely
stuff works.
the toilet, yeah.
So you were a learning experience for us as an organization.
I think so.
So LOTS actually means learning on the site. LOTS. That's what. So when they mention LOTS, it's learning on the site. That's something with our local RIA here in Louisville, Kentucky. And we want to let you know that managing real estate can be complicated. Get one thing off your plate and contact our good friends at Liberty Mutual. They have amazing rates. Click on the link in the description, or you can call 1-800-266-0644. Mention the code Milton Ali KY 444689 and get your free quote today. And so, what was the one transaction that changed everything for you?
In 2012 or like?
Or anytime.
Yeah.
As far as
it was one
investing.
transaction or investing that made you say, okay, you know what?
Light bulb went off.
Light bulb, it was the thing. It changed. It was a pivotal point in your journey.
Oh, man. I feel like, you know, along the way, you're going to have a lot of those ding dings, you know?
Oh, of course, yes.
I would say there was good thing real estate's not like children. You can have a favorite. And I would say that for me, one of them was this little house that I bought in Berrytown. So at the time, it was during COVID, and I remember looking at the house, and of course I wanted my parents to come look at it with me, and there were so many people looking at it too. And at the time, I thought that I was overpaying for the house at $110,000. So it was a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, a little over 1,000 square feet on 0.3 acres, and it's minutes to Anchorage, which for those of you who are not familiar, it has its own school district, and
it's the wealthiest zip code in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or close.
Yes.
Top 3.
Yes. And this was just like the little, like, I guess you can say it's the hood. I don't know if you want to write that out, but like it was like the hood of Anchorage, right? Because just by price point, 110 to like 600,000 plus at the time, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I am overpaying for this house. And I either paid 110 or 120. Anyways, now it's more than the value has doubled, and I'm like, I couldn't believe that at the time. I thought that I was overpaying for it. And now I'm so thankful that I did it when I did. And so I wish that I came to that realization sooner, but sometimes you have to like let some time go by to really be able to look back and say, whoa, I'm glad I did that when I did. And it didn't really need a whole lot of work either. So I think the last time I had to rent it out, I got like $1,800 or something for that.
So good, good cash flow, good income on it.
Yeah, and it's doubled in value. So I got my cash flow and my appreciation.
I was going to ask if it was a particular property, but I realized I was going to buy one in Berrytown. I bought some over in that area before, but I looked at one years and years ago, probably before before 2012, and a realtor friend told me about it. He said, "You got to go see this house. It's a good bargain." He said, "And it's got a pool."
Oh,
So that sounds great. 50, 60,000 was the asking price. It's got a pool. It's right near Anchorage. It's like, yeah, I'm going to buy this thing. And then when I get there, I find out the pool is in the basement. The whole thing had just flooded and had standing water, and it wasn't exactly a pool.
That is hilarious.
so the next time we have a flooded basement, we're going to say indoor pool?
Indoor pool.
Okay.
They literally said that?
I don't know if he was joking or if someone told him, like the listing agent may have told my realtor.
He might have been joking.
And then it relayed to me that there was a pool. I'm like, this is awesome. And I get there and it's just 4+ feet of stagnant, dank, nasty water.
Did he have a straight face when he told you?
No, I was on the phone, so I don't know. I think he thought it was really a pool, and I was excited. I get there, it wasn't a pool. But I did pass on that property, but it's one of maybe a handful. I think I should have bought it. We could have pumped it out, drained it, see what was going on. But it was a bank foreclosure. It was as is where it is. You couldn't do any inspections. You couldn't. They want you to pump the water out.
Yeah.
So I probably could have bought a similar house to what you got for half the because they were asking 50, 60 at the time. So probably half the price. Maybe needed more work than what you had, but
that's the price of a car now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's thinking.
There's some mid-level cars are cheaper than some of the houses we bought when we first invested. Or sorry, the houses we bought are cheaper than these mid-level cars.
Speaking of cars, my dad once asked me, he said, Daddy needs to get a new truck. Do you think I should just get a loan, or do you think I should buy a house and make the house pay for my car? I was like, dude, Dad, really?
Which one's going to help?
So, Jessica, you're writing a book, and the book is called The Deal That Almost Broke Me. Okay? What would that book contain? Like, what stories would that book contain, or is there one story?
The deal that almost broke me. Like, are you talking about the realtor side, like mentally cracked?
Any deal. Financially, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, it can
anything.
be just, this is an investor tribe. So think about it from that lens. But, or it could be, just keep it there. Because as real estate agents, yes, there is I wrote that book every year. Okay?
Yes, quite a bit.
Every 6 months. So, but from an investor standpoint, what would be the deal that almost broke you?
To be honest, I would say I've fairly been conservative in my underwriting because I don't want to take on more headache. Even though that's funny because every tenant is a new headache. But I would say my least favorite deal is a fourplex that I bought. Let me think for a second if there's anything else I hate worse than that one. I mean, everyone's like, oh, I want to get into multifamily, but this is just my opinion. And it could be just the situation because I ended up buying something where I had a guy who wanted to sell. And I was like, well, maybe I could buy for you because I did the numbers and it actually worked, even at like a 6 or something % interest rate, right? I cash flowed after factoring in my taxes, insurance, expenses, vacancy, all that. Okay. But there's 4 water heaters, 4 furnaces, 4 air conditioning, and it's questionable the age of the HVAC units.
And 4 personalities.
4 tenants, yes.
Well, actually... there's also 4 toilets, right? And there's also probably at least 3 people living in each unit. And I get to foot the water bill and the trash. And there were roaches. But I didn't think about all of that because I was like, it cash flows. And I needed to buy something. So I bought it. And did I mention none of them speak English?
The roaches or the tenants?
The tenants, but definitely the roaches did not speak English. No, they did not. I had to nuke them a couple of times. And here's a quick tip too. No one actually explained to me that a one-time roach treatment was not sufficient. You need to follow up because then they have eggs and then the babies hatch. And I was wondering, how come my treatments didn't work and I had to keep, calling every year? Oh, and then someone finally took the time to explain, this is why we have to follow up. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. For when the babies hatch. Huh.
Or when you spray or bomb your property and they go next door.
Uh-huh.
And then next door gets sick and they bomb and then they come back to your property.
Oh, yeah.
It's been treated.
Right.
You got to treat again or follow up.
And there were no security deposits. They only pay cash. So every month, I'm so thankful that I have a friend who speaks Spanish and was willing to do this for me. He was the point of contact, and every time stuff would go out, it's like, oh, my thermostat didn't work. And I was like, did you try to check the battery? Oh, it's working now. Or like, oh, and it was just all these like stupid things. And then he would physically go and collect the rent every month. And so he would come back with this big envelope of cash for me every month on the 1st. And so when he told me he was leaving, I was like, I got to sell this thing. I haven't sold it yet, but I'm like, okay, let's just see how this goes. And I think I'm on my way to learning Spanish. Because it's like, they're just texting me in Spanish and they're like, I don't understand how to mail this. Wait, you want me to drop it off where? Who's going to pick this up? And I'm like, listen, it is not normal for people to pick up your rent. You have been spoiled. And one of them finally figured out how to drop this off to one of my attorneys. And he was like, yeah, you're a drug dealer. You're a drug dealer.
So it's not all roses and rainbows. Sometimes it's roaches and drug dealers. Running a business shouldn't be hard. Being a landlord shouldn't be that hard either. But, you don't have to be an editor, a brand strategist, an actor. Our friends at Bespoke Marketing can help you look good while you do the things you're great at. So bespokemarketing.org, Bespoke Marketing, connections, Tailor makes. So going back to the fourplex thing, I had a fourplex as one of my earlier investments, and I heard, I thought individual houses, that's great. Fourplex would be like as good as having four houses. It wasn't. So if you have one tenant that gets roaches, they go to the other units, and then you've got 4 tenants that may be complaining about parking spots or mail, or somebody's cooking too loud, or their kids are at the pool and splashing. They're in my parking spot. It's just you're managing, more people and relationships, and you got 4 people under one roof, which I heard, that's great. That's one of the reasons you want to have 4 places, 4 people under one roof. That can be a good thing. It also can be the worst part about it is you've got 4 people under one roof,
like
on
Big
top
Brother.
of each other. Yes. But the cash flow can be well. I mean, you can do well with them. But yeah, you typically do have more turnover than with individual houses, and one bad apple can spoil the whole group.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a fire or something, happens there, or a bad apple, or a drug dealer moves in, or a boyfriend, or the drug dealer of your tenant that was good, now they got this horrible, significant other that moves in and ruins it, scares everybody else away. Mm-hmm. Or there's a fire maintenance issue, and now all of a sudden they've cut the electric to the property, or you can't open it back up until you get permits done, inspections done, and you could be losing that cash cow, like all that cash money that's coming in through your property. All of a sudden, it goes away at the moment. It can go away at a moment's notice.
Yes.
Versus if you had 4 individual houses where people were paying their own water bills and mowing their own grass, and shoveling their own snow. With the fourplex, you've got to do some of that stuff.
I agree, and I think that's something that people forget, is that you actually have more expenses as well with a fourplex. I have the same number of water heaters, kitchen sinks, toilets, furnaces in one building as I would if I had 4 houses. Well, I'd have 3 extra roofs, but I'll take my chances on that.
They last a long time.
I mean, it's really interesting. So I had a multifamily, and I remember one of my tenants was paying late like every month. I think I might have called one of you guys about it, but I do remember us talking about it because there was a $30 per. Now I inherit the tenant, okay, so the late tenant, and so it was like a $30 per day late charge. Ooh, I think I called you and I said, "Hey man, I got a tenant that's not paying and it's a $30 late fee." And he was like, "Your first question was, do you want to evict them?" And I was like, well, I said, but it was $30 a day and the rent was X amount, but they sent the rent check for this amount. They could be late every month. And you were like, then here's the situation you're going to run up against. If you ever want to evict them, they're going to take one look at that lease and the judge is going to look like you took advantage of them. Even though I didn't make the lease happen, we did an amendment to remove that very high late charge.
Whittle it down where it's more manageable or fair.
To way more manageable and fair. And I remember you telling me like, "Hey man, you may want to change your lease like now." So we got together, changed the lease, but the late tenants is just all together, one of those issues because there's 4 opportunities for them to be late. Mm-hmm. There's more opportunities for people to make mistakes and do all these kinds of things. I did want to ask you, what type of trends are you observing in the market, and as far as investing and things that you now know that you would tell your younger self? Like there's a trend that you're telling people, like, man, you should consider this.
A trend, a type of investing or area to invest in, maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
So I'm not sure how successful this is, but I've been noticing a lot of people wanting to buy owner financing terms. I don't know if you've noticed that too. I mean, we know it's been around for a while, but I've been seeing it a lot more, especially on some of my entry-level listings where I'm just getting sight unseen offers for, this is my cash offer, which is going to be half of what you're asking, or I can give you more than what you're asking if you're willing to owner finance it to me for a donut. I'm like, oh, very interesting. Yeah. So that's something that I've been noticing. And also I feel like with the interest rate environment, the way that it is, a lot of people they're just getting into a house, right, that they can. And their plan is to turn it into a rental later when they move out. And hopefully they can refinance so that the cash flow actually works. And we're noticing that even in areas that have historically been, I guess, lower priced, even those have been climbing. So a lot of people are having to, I guess, settle for what they can get just to get into the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're just seeing the same thing.
So there is a lot of different trends that I am noticing among those lines. And what I wanted to kind of, before we wrap up here, and I wanted to kind of ask you, as a real estate agent, what should people look for in an investor-friendly realtor?
That's a good one.
Well, I would say something that would make me feel comfortable is if this person walks the talk, right? It's one thing to know about real estate. It's another to actually be in real estate. And I think that you should look for somebody who has personal experience that they can share with you, because you can go a lot further faster by learning from others' mistakes. And it's also some kind of synergy, right? Because you can always bounce ideas off of each other. And it's instead of just talking from theory, you can talk from actual experience. And I think I can't understate the value of experience.
Why do you think, I mean, there's a lot of realtors out there that don't own investment property or even a property in general, but why do you think that is? There's so many realtors that don't have their own portfolio or don't have investment property?
I honestly think that real estate's not for everybody. I mean, just based off of like the deal that almost broke you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's some people who, and that's okay. Like, I don't assume or judge people who don't own real estate. I'm curious as to why. But my thought is either they're not either in a position where they can afford real estate yet. Maybe they're still building their business, their finances. Or this might be an unpopular opinion, is they don't have necessarily the means or maybe the confidence to go out and get something, or they're just unaware, right? Because I think that investing, you can sometimes stumble into becoming an accidental investor. A lot of times, though, I feel that it has to be very intentional. You have to put yourself in the right place and you have to recognize an opportunity, right? And I think maybe a lot of people just need that paycheck that they just go ahead and list it instead of asking, how can I buy this myself? How can I make this deal work? Where can I find the money? Who can I ask for the money? How can I, who can I get to manage this for me? Maybe I should learn to run the numbers, right? And so there's just a lot that goes into it. And I think if you're also trying to live up to a certain image or a certain lifestyle, you're not necessarily going to have enough left over at the end of the month to take risk and invest in something like real estate.
If you've got real estate projects coming up and you need any exterior siding, windows, garage doors, any premium products, Benthall Brothers has you covered. They're a local business. They've been around since 1943, multiple locations. They'll even do deliveries. So they're a one-stop shop for a lot of your product needs. Benthall Brothers since 1943.
Jessica, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Investor Tribe podcast. You are a member of the tribe, and we are so thankful that you can come join us. And will you come back?
I am so thankful to be here. Of course I will come back.
So that is absolutely amazing.
If you'll have me.
Yes.
We can put out the good cookies and all that.
Yes,
all
and everything.
The bougie.
Yes.
Nice food out
I don't
front.
want any bougie.
Okay.
We'll have a blast. And so you can catch us on all social media platforms and Spotify. You can go to INV Tribe on everything. So it's at INV Tribe on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X, and Spotify. And I'm Milton Ali.
And I'm Hampton Skurlock.
And we'll catch you on the flip side of the Investor Tribe.
The Investor Tribe podcast is brought to you by the Investor Tribe, all rights reserved, featuring Hampton Skurlock and Milton Ali, executive producer Drew Cookenmaster, produced and distributed by Bespoke Marketing.